Hey, what's up, dorks? Jay Price, Occulus Rex Media. Welcome to the show. So today we're gonna take a look at Dehancer. I don't know, you probably heard about it. Dehancer is a film emulation software. It basically gives some analog soul to your digital image. We all know that our digital cameras, which are just incredible 8K, 6K, 4K sensors, super sharp, 14, 15 stops of dynamic range, super clinical glass like G Masters and Sigma art lenses. Everything might look a little too sharp sometimes, a little too clean. Well, one of the big things about color grading and lighting and editing is a way to give an organic feel to that digital footage. Everybody's always trying to chase the film look, right? I know I am. So, Dehancer is a really pretty cool software plugin for Davinci Resolve, iOS, Android, Premiere Pro, all the various different softwares. It works on all platforms. It's got like 60 plus film emulation grades, halation, bloom, grain, that's like internal grain. It's really pretty neat. We're gonna dive into all that, but yeah, so stick around. We're gonna, look at some cool stuff. We'll look at some test footage. We'll look at some examples. We'll tell a few jokes. Maybe make some, bad decisions together. Fair enough? So, what's Dehancer? Dehancer, like I said, film emulation software. It's pretty cool. It's made by a bunch of people that are like super into film. Like maybe like, sniffing old canisters of film kind of into film, but they love it. So it's got over 60 different film presets, internal real grain. It's really pretty neat. We're going to get into it pretty heavy and go over all the list of features, but it's got so many different features. It's actually pretty cool. I've been using it for about a month now. Dehancer sent me a copy of it to review. They don't get to know what I put in the review, and I'm not getting paid, but I will get a free copy of it after I do the review, which is fun. But I'm going to be honest and straightforward with you and tell you what I like and don't. And a few things like the new film simulation look in Davinci Resolve does do quite a few of the things that this software does. However, there are some unique points to it that are a little different and a lot more advanced. I think the Davinci Resolve version is more like a training wheels version. It's got some of the features, but it's really not the same. It's like the difference between Porsche and Corolla. They'll both probably get you there. One's gonna get you there in style. One's gonna get you there pretty practically. Anyway, 60 plus film profiles. Add new ones all the time. Realistic grain, halation, bloom, all the quirks that make filming. So the film profiles, the built-in film profiles are pretty wild. Pretty much every one of the greatest hits. Kodak Vision 3, Portra 400, Cinestill T, 800T, Cinestill 800T. They even have Kodachrome, the cute Paul Simon song, But you can also dial those things down. So you can actually put a film profile on there and then customize it to your liking. So like what I've found so far is a lot of times I'll set a film look and then I'll dial it back. So you can change like your film grain. There's so many different areas of the film stock that you can change, and then you can dial back the amount of your profile you put on there to give it a really dialed in custom look. Because maybe sometimes you don't want it to be super vintage, but you want to have a little bit of character, right? So, grain. The best film has, the grain, the little crackle pops, and we all know, especially if you're a photographer, like I'm a photographer as well as a filmmaker, so there's a lot of film grain tools that you can put, and they usually slap a look on top of the film, and it's pretty telling, it's pretty obvious that it's not organic, right? I mean, no matter how well you dial it in, it never looks just right. Well, Dehancer's program is like internal. It's built into the film. So like they don't just slap it on the top. It's based on the brightness, the color, it's really pretty neat. It varies depending on what you actually have on the screen, just like real film does. So yeah, if you want to make it feel like you shot it on 16 millimeter, but you don't want to mortgage your house for, the film stock, or, potentially ruin a shot because you didn't change the cartridge right because we didn't grow up with that stuff. Boom, done, problem solved. And let's talk about halation. The dreamy orange red glow around your highlights. Perfect for music videos. Perfect for making your film look like, dreamy vintage vibes, or making your kid's birthday party look like it's ready for Sundance. It's pretty slick, vibes all around, very cool, very neat, and you can really dial that in forward and back, and it's actually pretty extensive. You can build it to match your film profile too. So they have different. It's not just base halation. It's based off of whether you're using a 16 millimeter film, 8 millimeter film, 35 millimeter film, 70 or 65 millimeter film with the rim jet or no. It's really pretty involved. It's pretty neat, and we'll show some examples of it. But it really looks great, and it adds a dreamy quality to a lot of footage that harkens back to the mid-70s when there was a lot of bloom and character to the footage. Like in the 90s and beyond, when we started using digital cinema, things got really crisp, the resolution got really high, but we lost a lot of that character. And Dehancer's a way to get back to some of that while not having to go through the process of buying a film camera. So not to get too philosophical here, but filmmaking, video, film, it's all a hallucination. It's an optical illusion. When we look at video, or we watch a movie, or we see somebody sends us a reel, we're not actually watching movement. We're watching a series of still frames played in such a rapid succession that it gives us the illusion of movement. Why do we film in 24 frames per second? It's because what looks supernatural to the eye, but it's really all a hallucination, right? And which is just wild if you really think about it. But, one of the things that old school film quality had that modern video doesn't have is the jittery movement, like the imperfection. The old film stocks had literal holes punched in the sides, and those holes went around a wheel. Well, it wasn't perfect. Sometimes there was movement, sometimes there was jitters, sometimes there was a little bit of breathing where it moved forward and back in the frame just a little bit, and that created a magic that is hard to recapture with a digital camera. And there's something that's lost shooting 8K glossy on a stabilizer. There's something that's lost there, and that's one of the, why do we shoot handheld a lot? We shoot handheld a lot, well, one, because it's convenient, whatever, and it looks really cool when we have the cage and stuff, but the real reason why we shoot handheld is to create that sense of motion and anxiety and organic feel, right? Like that's why I shoot. Having film breath and gate weave creates a jittery kind of pop and movement. It's like your old, 35 millimeter family footage that you watched at your grandpa's house. Well, I did. I don't know how old you are, but I guess I'm aging myself a little bit. But when I was a kid, that's what we did, right? So anyway, Dehancer's got that built in. You can dial it back. You can customize it. You can make gate weave. You can make film breath. You can have you can do some really cool effects where you have the film overlay so it looks like it's actually coming through a projector. It's pretty cool. There's all kind of stuff that you can do to really customize your footage to make it look unique to your project. And look, you got tons of control. The controls are very easy to operate. Now, I've not used Premiere Pro, or I've used Davinci Resolve. That's what I use. And so I'm not sure exactly the format. I'm assuming it's going to be relatively the same because most of the time the plugins are pretty similar. But from my experience, it's super easy to use, super intuitive, and it actually doesn't seem to be real resource heavy. So like I have a Mac Mini M2 Pro, right? But I have the lowest end one. I think it's to the 10 gig. It's not the maxed out one. It's like a baby. And I've not had any problems running the halation of the grain or really slowing down my frame rates much. I mean, obviously if you have everything stacked on there, it does a little bit, but because it's all in one plugin, it operates pretty seamlessly, and it's actually pretty neat. But you have, CMY controls for print toning. You have like print profile, like print stock profiles, camera specific log profiles. Oh, it's got ACES support and camera log specific profile. So instead of having to do a Rec 709 correction before you start operating on the footage, you can actually do a camera correction in the program. So you can really, if you really wanted to, you could have a one node tree with just Dehancer in there, do a Rec 709 conversion, then put a film look on it, and you can adjust your exposure. I mean, obviously I would probably adjust my exposure on a second node, but point being is you could realistically get it all done in one node and keep it pretty simple, which is pretty cool. And again, ACES for the color science nerds out there. But yeah, it's tons of control, so much customizability. You can create LUTs from your look. So if you have a look that you really, really like and you want to replicate that again and again on a variety of different footage, you don't just have to copy the node and paste it on the next clip. You can actually create a LUT and then just put it on all your footage. And I use an FX3, so I use a lot of LUTs in camera, and I often will burn the look in my footage to keep from having to go through the process, especially if it's doing a little talking head or a wedding video or something simple where I know ahead of time what look I'm going for. It's pretty easy, pretty slick, and that always helps me get exposure correct. Oh, did I hit my? That always helps me get exposure correct. I don't know about you, but like having the look that I want to get allows me to know exactly what my footage is going to look like, even when I'm shooting in log. Okay, so enough talk from me. Let me show you a couple of clips that I graded using a variety of different footage. And I used, I took some raw footage. I downloaded a few of them from, B-raw footage from Blackmagic and some ARRI footage from ARRI and some Sony Venice footage. And then I had some FX3 and footage already. So anyway, I'm grading that to show you what a regular log conversion looks like versus what a regular log conversion plus a Dehancer look and a few different film look variations. So you'll be able to see the difference between one and the other. So up first is ARRI. And this is the raw footage. And here's a Rec 709 conversion. And here's a simple 35mm film look. We're gonna use the Kodak stock, and it's pretty straightforward. We didn't do a whole lot to it. Up next, this is a B-raw clip, and we're gonna do something a little different on this one. So the B-raw clip, we're gonna show you the log footage first. There you go. We're gonna show you the log footage first. And now here is Rec 709 conversion. Now this one, I'm putting a special blend of herbs and spices that I really like to give you a pretty low-key look. It's not super dramatic. It's not as dramatic as the first one, but I feel like it's pretty representative of what most of us will do with this, okay? Look at that, isn't that great? All right, and up next, we've got the Venice footage. And again, on the Venice footage, we're just gonna do a simple, this is the log. But on this one, we're gonna do the Rec 709 foot conversion in Dehancer and then put a film look on that. Bam, look at that, just that easy. And now this is some FX30 footage that I shot at the Super Bowl last weekend. I live in Baton Rouge, New Orleans area, and I shot some stuff. So check out this officer on the horse right here. And so this is the log footage. Here's a Rec 709 conversion. And now here's my own special Dehancer look. So Dehancer. Is it worth it? I mean, that kind of depends on you. So this is one of those things that's highly subjective. I don't have a definitive answer. You know, when it comes to like camera, body, or handle, or a lens, I got some pretty hardcore opinions about that on what I think is good and what I think is good and not good. But for this, it's going to be a matter of opinion. If you want to, if you're like me, and like if you spend a lot of time creating the perfect LUT and really tweaking your footage to make it have a unique characteristic that is one of a kind, then absolutely. If you're just running gun and shooting weddings and you're just going to throw Rec 709 conversion on it, maybe adjust the exposure if you have to, and then send it out cooked like that, yeah, probably not. That said, you can try for free for 30 days. Dehancer, there's a link to Dehancer in the comment section, and there's a discount code in there for my viewers. But try it free. Try it free for 30 days. See what you think. I mean, it can't hurt. So anyway, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go add bloom and emulation to everything. Oh yeah. By the way, smash that like button, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And you know, what's your favorite in the comments? What's your favorite film stock?